And so that was kind of the genesis of our journey to set out to build something that was ZK proven rather than consensus driven, right? When you think about oracles, you generally think about a bunch of servers redundantly grabbing the same data, coming to consensus and delivering that on chain. You have one layer that's an ingest layer for getting data in and witnessing that data and ensuring the data has been collected correctly to get data into space and time. Did you grab the right? Did you grab the latest Ethereum block? Did you grab the latest Ethereum block? Did you grab the latest Ethereum block? And they all agree that they grabbed the latest Ethereum block correctly. Great. Sign it and insert it into space and time.
Perhaps to rephrase, what is the next thing that you're looking forward to in the space and
Yeah.
time continuum? All right. Well, Scott, first of all, hi. Nice to finally get this sorted and started.
Yeah, great to meet you, and thanks for having me on.
Before we dive deeper into what you guys are up to with space and time, can you perhaps go through sort of an introduction, tell us a little bit about your background, what have you been doing before that, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. I spent about a decade in enterprise data warehousing at a company called Teradata, which is a Fortune 500 publicly traded company that builds data warehouses for almost every major American company. And um, it's all about centralizing the world's data into these analytic black boxes controlled by mega corporations. And it's exciting to be working on something that decentralizes and puts data back in the hands of users and kind of self custody of data for the end user. When we set out to build space and time back in 2021, we were looking at the market and thinking, Oracle networks are very powerful and provide a way to get data to a smart contract just in time during a transaction, like getting, the average price of a crypto asset. But what we realized the market really needed was a way for smart contracts to actually query anything about any activity on their own chain or other chains, like basically a database filled with all of Web3's data, all of the major data from every major chain that could be proven back to smart contracts when needed, just in time during a transaction. And so we set out to build sort of a ZK proven, the first ever ZK proven database that could live natively on Ethereum.
Yeah, I feel like what you just said was packed with information. So let's try to back it up a little bit and perhaps start with the basics. I'm sure a lot of people are kind of uncertain about what a data warehouse is. And since you're building a Web3 decentralized one, can you perhaps just walk us through the very basics of what a data warehouse is and why do we need it?
Yeah, a data warehouse is just a really big database that does a sort of a different, more scalable style of processing when you have hundreds of terabytes rather than just like hundreds of gigabytes. If you have hundreds of gigabytes, you can just fit it on a single server running Postgres or MySQL or any sort of small database software. When you get to a large scale, the tens, hundreds of terabytes, if not petabytes, you usually have to distribute your data and your computation over a large network of servers. Like, uh, even a single server can barely hold a terabyte often. And so imagine 100 terabytes, you need 100 servers. And instead of putting those 100 servers together in one location, kind of co-located in someone's centralized data center, you could spread that out over a blockchain style network of validators all over the globe that each hold a small part of the data set, right? Like each hold a terabyte each and together build 100 terabytes. So a data warehouse is just a really, really big database. In our case, it's a big database filled with indexed data from every major chain: Bitcoin, Ethereum, ZK Sync, Polygon, Sui, Aptos, you name it.
Yeah.
And we're collecting this real-time data from all the chains, but in a cryptographically verifiable way, so that when smart contracts or AI agents that are transacting on chain need that data in real time to actually execute transactions, we can provide the answers very quickly along with a proof. For example, maybe a smart contract that's facilitating lending on chain wants to ask, "Hey, show me all of George's wallet. Show me whether George's wallet has paid off loans on chain, and if so, I'll give him a better borrow rate." he has sort of an on-chain credit history. Or maybe an AI agent that you built to trade meme coins on your behalf is going to go, pick the best, funniest meme coins on base. Well, it still needs data about what are the, give me a list of top meme coins by market cap, volume, active wallets, 24-hour price change, et cetera. You still need to feed in data to help your AI agent make a decision about what kind of meme coins to trade. And when
Right.
those trades become sizable, when those transactions become valuable, it's helpful to have some verification that your data is actually cryptographically accurate and that we're not lying, et cetera.
How is this data stored?
So we have a network of nodes around the globe of user operated, community owned validators that are storing data locally. And we have a decentralized IPFS style storage layer underneath that's an archive of all the old data. Fresh data locally on the nodes, old archive data down below in an IPFS like storage layer.
So hence the decentralized component, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when clients need that data, when a smart contract raises its hand and says, "Hey, show me Scott's wallet history if he's paid off loans before," or "Hey, show me a list of top meme coins trading today," we can give that answer back as well as a ZK proof that we've done the answer correctly.
Okay. And Scott, you're one of the co-founders, right?
Yeah, CTO.
How did the name Space and Time came into play? Why Space and Time?
I think I was at like a Tame Impala concert or something, and they opened their concert with like a journey through space and time. And we were thinking we needed a name that was very aligned with the sort of celestial, planetary kind of theme that was going on in crypto at the time. And not that it's changed. I think we still see a ton of maybe like the celestial focus has transitioned to more AI focused names in the last 2 years. But at the
Yeah.
time, like everyone was naming startups like Cosmos, Celestia, Solana, very
Yeah.
planetary, interplanetary file
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned you guys started in 2021, right?
Yeah, we were kind of doing a lot of work with Chainlink at that time, and my co-founder Nate was advising the executive team at Chainlink, and we were spending a lot of time looking at their technology, which we think is extremely strong, very, very secure Oracle network. But it primarily delivered price feeds to smart contracts. And of course, Chainlink can go grab other data points as well from like external APIs. Like Chainlink can go grab, I don't know, stock prices from the stock market or real world assets from a private database. But the majority of what Chainlink delivered were price feeds. And we thought
Right.
we need an Oracle that can basically run database style queries and filter data and sort data and find my wallet among millions of wallets and find my wallet history and return that to a smart contract the same way that an Oracle network returns price feeds. And so that was kind of the genesis of our journey to set out to build something that was ZK proven rather than consensus driven, right? When you think about oracles, you generally think about a bunch of servers redundantly grabbing the same data, coming to consensus and delivering that on chain. Our approach was instead of having 30 different database nodes, each redundantly do the same query 30 times, coming to consensus on the result and returning it, we realized like that'd be very, very inefficient, especially when you have terabytes of data. Imagine trying to process that 30 times redundantly. It'd just be
Yeah.
crazy. We realized a ZK, a zero knowledge, uh, a zero knowledge technology based approach would be much more conducive to make that scale where only one node in the network needs to actually do the hard work of processing the data, but prove that it processed the data correctly.
Could you perhaps walk us through briefly and on a more basic level of how these ZKs work with your specific case here?
Yeah, so you basically have two layers in the space and time network. You have an ingest layer, which I'll describe in a second, and you have the actual ZK proof layer for querying data. You have one layer that's an ingest layer for getting data in and witnessing that data and ensuring the data has been collected correctly to get data into space and time.
Okay.
And then when clients like smart contracts on any major chain or AI agents that need to transact on any major chain, when those clients need data from us, when they're asking a question and they need an answer, that's when we ZK prove. So Imagine this indexing or ingestion or insert layer that grabs data, that collects, listens for, and collects data from every major chain and kind of comes to consensus among the nodes that they've collected the data correctly. Did you
Right.
grab the right? Did you grab the latest Ethereum block? Did you grab the latest Ethereum block? Did you grab the latest Ethereum block? And they all agree that they grabbed the latest Ethereum block correctly. Great. Sign it and insert it into space and time. It's now been witnessed by a number of nodes in the network. They all agree the data looks good and they sign it as a team, a threshold signature. So now you have this threshold signed data available in space and time, and anybody permissionlessly, in a decentralized way, can grab that data and build and process it if they want, right? We've stored raw data, unprocessed. It's just been collected and
Yeah.
witnessed inside. So now a smart contract on, I don't know, ZK Sync era says, hey, before letting Scott LP into this liquidity pool, let me look up his wallet history and see if he's staked our token for at least 6 months. And maybe this special liquidity pool only lets people in if they've
Yeah.
staked the token for a while. At that point, we build a cryptographic proof that Scott's wallet has or has not staked the token for a certain amount of time. And we use those threshold signed data to prove that we haven't tampered with the underlying data, like we've actually collected the data correctly and haven't tampered with it, and B, that the actual filter, the computation done against that data, the processing of that data was done correctly as well. So the proof that we're returning back to the smart contract on chain says, here's your data set, like here's the answer to your question, and here's a proof that the underlying data was collected correctly, and that the query was done correctly. That gets verified on chain, and then the smart contract can know we're not lying.
Right. Is this one of the bigger challenges that you've had to face to build this sort of an architecture that makes this in a
Yeah.
way which
Yeah, there's as you know, there's a ton of brilliant teams working on zero knowledge
yeah.
VMs, and they're most, if not all of those teams are focused on building these virtual machines that can run any kind of arbitrary compute. They're just, hey, give me your Rust script or your JavaScript, or give me your C++ code, and we'll run it in a virtual machine and prove that it was run correctly. That's what most teams are focused on. That's where most of the research is right now. We went a completely different direction. We hyper focused on SQL database queries, building a specialized ZK cryptographic circuit specifically for the kinds of operations that SQL database queries do: filtering data, sorting data, arithmetic on data, joining tables together, aggregating, find the sum, the count, max, the mean, whatever. Um, and so we had to just completely rethink the architecture. Like there really wasn't anything like this in the market, and there really weren't any teams focused on like, hey, how do we just process data really efficiently over a very large amount of data, like an entire chain history? How do we process an entire chain history doing these sort of data processing functions? Like show me, hey, go find Scott's wallet and show me whether Scott has paid off a loan on chain. That's a
Yeah.
very, very complex question that has to filter a lot of data. So we focused our architecture on that. And that was by far the most challenging thing we've done.
And how far are you guys in your development roadmap? You mentioned you started in 2021. So perhaps to rephrase, what is the next thing that you're looking forward to in the space and
Yeah.
time continuum?
Well, we just launched it's called proof of SQL, right? This ZK proof of
Yeah.
SQL database
Yeah.
queries. We just launched proof of SQL about 2 weeks ago, and it was very well received. It kind of went viral on Twitter, and it was great to see the reception from the open source community that kind of poured in when we launched that. So that was, 2.5, 3 years of hard work, finally delivered to the community. And so the next step is testnet and mainnet. We said, a few weeks ago, we said, hey, world, here's this incredibly powerful ZK proof we've built. Here you go. You can have it. And then next step is, hey, world, here's a decentralized network that leverages that novel proof to deliver data to smart contracts and AI agents that transact on chain.
Right. Is there a token involved in all of this?
Yes, that's all I'll say. You
Okay,
can.
yeah,
So we're targeting mainnet in early Q4. So that'll give you an idea.
yeah. Okay. I remember you guys, you raised one of your first, or I guess the only, I'm not particularly sure, but I remember you raising money from Microsoft, right? At the beginning.
Yeah.
How did that process go? Because most traditional crypto-focused companies raise from crypto-focused VCs that we've all heard about. But when I read about you guys, one of the first thing that struck me was that Microsoft was involved in your funding. So how did that go?
Yeah, Microsoft led our last round in late 2022, and we're one of Microsoft's only crypto investment or Web3
Right.
investments. Um, I met with executives at Microsoft and at M12, their venture arm, in mid 2022. Actually, at BTC Miami, weirdly, we were just kind of meeting up around a pool and discussing kind of infra and Web3, and they were looking for a team that was really focused on infra that would be native to Web3, kind of a primitive that could be used widely across crypto, but also has implications outside of crypto. Think finance, TradFi, banking
Yeah.
in the defense sector, where proving that things were done correctly is very important to ensure foreign enemies or state actors aren't breaching and manipulating data. And in banking, a way to kind of prove bank A to prove to bank B, C, and D that they're not lying about their books, or that they're not lying about their assets, and they can kind of prove that they have the assets they have. So space and time offered a way to kind of bridge that gap between a primitive needed by DeFi developers and by folks building on-chain AI, but also a primitive that could be used in other verticals for some of Microsoft's more enterprise focused customers. And they've been a great partner in bringing us a lot of those enterprise financial institutions that are starting to use space and time and have become customers of ours using this technology for various reasons.
Scott, you mentioned primitives, and I think that it's safe to say that one of the hottest narratives over the past couple of years has been artificial intelligence and all the applications powered by it. Has this impacted you? Because yeah, I mean, obviously you're part of providing infrastructure perhaps for applications that may be powered by AI. So has this impacted you guys in what way?
Yeah, I think we weren't at all thinking about on-chain AI in the early days. We were just thinking, hey, let's provide data to smart contracts in a very low latency ZK proven way. And then, when Microsoft led our round in late 2022, that was around the time everyone was waking up to GPT-3 at
Yeah.
the time. And, GPT-4 was on the way. It was months out from being released. And I think everyone shifted their attention, and Microsoft certainly poked us in that direction. And we actually spent a lot of time in 2023 co-engineering with the Azure AI Lab, Microsoft's own AI lab, like our engineers and their engineers working together to build some AI agents for generating SQL, like generating queries, as well as building kind of dashboards autonomously and processing blockchain data with AI agents. And they were very, very helpful in kind of co-engineering a lot of this with us. We're also working on a project right now as we speak, a new one that's co-engineered with the Azure lab, where our engineers and Microsoft's engineers are working together to build sort of a relayer for GPT-5 coming soon. So we're really excited.
And do you see this trend continuing in a way that it is now, or like what is it that excites you about?
Yeah, I think blockchain's honestly really hard for humans to traverse. Like we do fine on like one chain. Like if you can set up a wallet on Polygon, you're fine. You can trade on Polygon, but it becomes very challenging when we have to cross chains, right? Like so much effort, investment, and hard engineering is being put into better user experiences for crossing chains and intentions. Like, hey, I intend to buy a meme coin on Base, but right now all of my capital is on Ethereum. So what do? There's lots of teams building AI agents for intent-based transactions where you just tell it your intention. Hey, my intention is to buy a kitty coin 69 on base, but all my money's on Ethereum. Hey, AI agent, can you help me? It's much easier for an AI agent to traverse the chain and move money between chains, across bridges, across relayers, into new protocols than for humans to try to do all those steps themselves very slowly and very painfully with a lot of human error. So I'm very excited about a future where the next billion users are not humans clicking sign transaction in MetaMask, but are rather AI agents transacting on chain on our behalf, doing things for us. Finally, in addition to like this future of like AI assistants that I just described, where they do stuff for you, I think there'll also be a need for AI agents to use crypto to purchase the resources they need to accomplish goals. So I just gave you an example where I say, hey, go buy memes on base for me. That's one example. But the other is, you tell your AI assistant, hey, go build me a website and let me know when it's done. And here's what I want in the website as an example.
Right.
Your AI agent will probably need to use leverage crypto to purchase sort of like the resources it needs to build that website, either content across the web or a hosting service or compute platform or servers. Like to procure those resources, it's not that easy for an AI agent to use your credit card. It
Right.
makes much more sense for you to give it a little bit of crypto that it can work with. I think blockchain will find a lot of product market fit as a place where AI agents transact.
Right. Scott, how big is your team? I've been meaning to ask this question from the
We've got
beginning of
about
this.
30, about 30 on the team, mostly engineers and a really hardworking and nimble marketing team.
Yeah. And how many people were you when you started?
Oh, like four.
Four. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. Um, perhaps, perhaps one of the questions that I almost always recap these conversations is what is it that mostly excites you for, let's say, the next, I'd like to say 5 years, but in crypto, 5 years is like an eternity. So let's say a year.
Yeah. I mean, as you can tell, I'm extremely passionate about both ZK and AI. And I think there's an interesting intersection between the two that will emerge over the next year. There's a lot of teams that are trying to build on-chain machine learning that can be ZK proven. And I think there's an opportunity for us to use blockchain technology to create like a better way for AI agents to share messages amongst themselves. Like agent AI assistant one
Right.
prices an option and can share that pricing with all the other AI agents without them having to trust agent one. It can prove that it priced it correctly. Like it just creates a better opportunity for agents to communicate between themselves. I'm very excited about the future of on-chain agents. And then we're just seeing an Cambrian explosion of zero knowledge teams building great tech. Like every month I see a new announcement from a new ZK team saying, "Hey, world, announcing a step forward in ZK compute." So it's a brave new world, and we're really excited.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. Can you perhaps tell us where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, follow Space and Time at Space and Time DB. We have a very fast growing community with lots of exciting opportunities to earn rewards and get involved as an early community member. And then me personally, it's at Chief Biddle, Biddle Buidl, and would love to get in touch.
Okay, well, thank you once again.
Hey, thanks so much, George. It's been a blast.